So, the iPhone. The iPhone is a great product, and it's a lot of the reason why people love using them. The software is easy to use, and it's just all around a great phone. Now, comparing it to Android, a lot of people always compare iOS to Android and say this and that. They're both sleek softwares. Samsung make absolutely great phones as well, so do Apple, and they sort of clash with each other with ads, as you can see. I remember, I think it was 2018, there were numerous ads from Samsung mocking Apple quite clearly, which was funny. Now, there's something that Apple have stick closely to with their what we say bezel-less screens. Well, almost bezel-less. There is a little small bezel at the side. It's not completely rounded off, but nonetheless, it's still very clean. The notch. Now, the notch is become sort of a meme with, I guess, Apple, and they've stuck very closely to this since the iPhone 10, which was released about, I think, nearly 4 years ago. 2017, it was launched, and a lot of people were really happy just to have a new phone. I remember people talking about the Face ID. I remember there were cousins and stuff like that. They were identical twins, if you saw on YouTube. And they were trying to unlock the phone with each of them. They were great things. The technology of Face ID back then shocked a lot of people. A lot of people are like, whoa, this is incredible. I can unlock my phone and stuff with my personal face. I can do this and that, and nobody else can unlock the phone with my face. I pretty much have full control of my phone now, instead of having a fingerprint there, which, was a very good thing. I'm not saying the Touch ID was bad. Touch ID was incredible, and a lot of people are still using that today because they just love it too much. I know the iPhone SE 2 was incredible with Touch ID. I'd say, beautiful. I remember having the iPhone SE 2. I got rid of it purely because the battery life was very shocking on it. But it's an incredible phone. And so is the iPhone 8 series and the 7 series. I think the iPhone 10 launched with the iPhone 8, or did the iPhone 8 launch in 2018? I can't really remember. I think they launched side to side. I think the iPhone 8 launched with it. But the iPhone 10 was pretty much just this new incredible phone from Apple because it was the first ever phone that didn't feature a button. They prepared people with the iPhone 7, I think in 20... iPhone 7. I think the iPhone 7 was 2016. I could be wrong. Jeez. I think it was 2016. I could be wrong now. But either way, they prepared people with the headphone jack removal, and I remember that being the biggest talk when it came to iPhones. A lot of users were very annoyed with the fact that there was no headphone jack, because there still is headphone jacks now on some Android flagships. I know I think the Samsung S10 has a headphone jack, which is still a really good phone. There is a lot of phones that still feature this headphone jack that a lot of people just can't leave, because the headphone jack is so better. And the thing that's annoying with Apple is you have to, if you want to, say, use an old pair of headphones, you have to have a dongle, a lightning to jack little dongle thing, which can get annoying, and I know a lot of people these days have lost them, and in the end, they've either just got AirPods because they're easier to manage, or they've just decided to leave it all alone. because they've just gotten really bored with the fact that this and that. And fair enough. I know a lot of people don't really like having a wire on their like when they're running and stuff. They prefer AirPods. Now, AirPods have been probably one of Apple's best-selling products ever, I think. A bunch of people have loved them. They've even become the household name of headphone or wireless headphones now. Everyone's just saying, "Oh, you got some AirPods." They are they're great AirPods. The only bad thing about them is that they do die quite quickly, especially when you're enjoying some good old music. But there's some people who constantly wear these things. They have them in their ears 24/7. I genuinely do not know how they can do that. It's a little bit weird how they can actually get through that. But hey ho, I mean, if that's how you roll, that's how you roll. But I know a lot of people are kind of all over the place when it comes to AirPods and headphone jacks. Now, the iPhone 13, it is the next successor to the iPhone 12. And there are, what I've heard anyway, a lot of cool things with this. Now, apparently this is going to be quite a big upgrade for people. Now, I'm not too sure if this is going to be a big enough upgrade to get people stop using the iPhone 6S. Yes, there are still a lot of people using that device, and that is incredible. There are people actually still using it, and this just shows you over the years that people have slowed down buying new phones. I remember, back in 2015 and stuff, people are having to say upgrade their phone every 2 years because, a lot of features that were on their old phone didn't really make sense anymore, so they upgraded to a newer phone because they wanted to try and keep up with a bit of technology. But I'd say past 2017, 2018, and even 2019, you kind of don't really need a new phone after. If you've got a phone from at least 2019 or 2018, it's, especially an iPhone, you're still kind of updated. You're not really out of date. But it's just really incredible that sort of Apple have brought this on that way and actually had the ability to upgrade a 6-year-old device. It would be incredible if they did it one last final upgrade of iOS 16. I don't think it'll do it, but that would be incredible. That would probably kill Apple. That would probably be a world record. The most updated, the longest updated device ever. I mean, that would be weird Guinness World Record, that, but I mean, it probably would be a record. I don't think any device has been updated that long, especially a phone with a smartphone, because I know a lot of Android devices only last 2 to 3 years, which after that you can still use them. I've seen people use them upwards of 6-7 years from their purchase date. So I mean, I guess it really depends if you're willing to use it that long. But the iOS or the iPhone 13, these are specs and leaks. This is from Tom's Guide. Apple's new iPhone 13 is coming this fall. Here's what we know so far. 4 iPhone 13 models of the same iPhone. So these are going to be the same size as the iPhone 12. So they're probably gonna have a mini model, a normal model, and then a Pro model, and then a Pro Max model. I'm guessing. Judging from that anyway, I'm not entirely sure if that's right. But if you're saying that there's going to be 4 models like that, smaller notch on all 4 models, yes, this has kind of been a thing that Apple users are getting a little bit annoyed about, the notch. And I kind of feel the same way. I mean, the notch is something that brings down the phone. It is a little too big, I think, on iPhones. Like, don't get me wrong, it's cool to have it there, and I get the purpose of it being there because it houses the Face ID, and it's quite a big thing that it's got a house. I get that, totally. However, the thing that it's most annoying about it is the fact that it's just there. You know, it does get in the way of some stuff, and especially when you're watching a video, it can get in the way. Now, I don't think they could ever eliminate the notch, personally. Unless they could, it's probably going to take them a while to do this, to fully eliminate the notch. They could probably do it. I don't see why they couldn't do it, but it's probably going to take some time to maneuver it around if they really want to do that, because Apple now are more focused on, say, their Face ID. That's kind of their big thing. I know Android does have a sort of face recognition thing, but I don't think it's as advanced as iOS's Face ID. I think it's kind of a little bit behind. It's going to have a faster A15 Bionic chip. I think the iPhone 12 has the A14. Improved 5G, so it's probably going to have a bit faster 5G. I'm not entirely sure. I never have actually used 5G because it's still not available in my area yet. I do have a 5G network, so it does work with the iPhone 12, but it's kind of one of them things. I do like 5G, don't get me wrong. I just think it's a little bit too new for people to make the switches at the moment. 4G is still a very good thing. You can still get some good speeds out of it, depending on what network you are with. It's gonna have new portrait video mode, possible Touch ID in the display. This could be a good thing because, say if you break your screen. Now, I'm not saying this could be a good idea because, sometimes if you break your screen, you could be fucked. But I know a lot of people have broken their screen around their notches. I have a broken iPhone 12 here. And the reason why I wouldn't take that into Apple is because the Face ID works. If the Face ID stopped working, I'd have to take it in because I know they've pretty much hit hard to people who like to replace their own parts on their phone. I think they've made it a lot harder with the iPhone 12, at least anyway. Now I'm not too sure if this is going to happen with the iPhone 13, or they're going to make it a lot user-friendly. I think if they made it user-friendly for people to have the choice to change their parts if they want to, go ahead. But I think they should also add to that, if you change your phone and you break it, you have to pay the full price. I think that's a good deal. It's going to have a 120Hz refresh rate on the Pro models. Now, this is kind of what iPhone users have been asking for a while. Why have they been slacking when it comes to refresh rate? And a lot of people have been happy with Android's refresh rate. As some newer, like the newer iPhones now, I think in the S21, a lot of them come with 120 refresh rate. Hertz refresh rate, and that's obviously a lot more better. Now, I think you can have the option to turn it off in Android, and I think you can have the option to turn down the quality. I would love to see that in iOS. Have the option to turn up or down the quality of the phone. I know they don't want to make it so technical, but they should make a whole thing for it, and you have to put in a passcode or something like that, or you have to tap it 5 times or so and so, like in the Android, like to turn on developer mode. So like there's a bit of section for iPhone users that actually know what they're doing to going to them settings. That would be pretty incredible, and that would kind of make everyone's tech inner side who loves iPhones truly to go like all over the place. Always on display. Obviously, this is kind of being big on Android. It seems like Apple are just doing what Android's done. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But yes, I know a lot of Android users are probably going to be mocking the new iPhone by saying, "Oh, my Android's been able to do that for since 2016." Now I think they started doing it was on display since the S7 or S6. So it's been doing that for quite a while, you know. But I know a lot of people are going to probably mock that. Always on display, it could be a good thing, but if it's like Android and it uses less than 3%, then that would be incredible. But who knows? They're probably going to have to be a beefier battery or only allow that on the Pro models. I think the Pro models should have at least a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. I know that sounds extreme, but you're paying a lot of money. At least you could do is get a better battery and better battery life. Improved ultra-wide lens on the Pro models. That is incredible for people who want to take photos. Larger batteries on all. All right, so we're getting larger batteries. These, by the way, these are rumored features. These probably won't even they may not see it. You may not get a 120 hertz refresh rate. It's kind of annoying if you don't. These are all the things that iPhones need to have if they want to compete with Samsung, because Samsung are pretty much open, like they have the specs better than Apple. And I know a lot of people who buy an iPhone don't really care about the specs. They just care about the fact they can download their apps and get on with their fucking life. That's all people care about when buying an iPhone. They don't really care about the specs. They don't care about the blah, blah, blah. They just want to download an app and get on with their life. Larger batteries, definitely needs larger batteries. I think iPhones, they are very much slacking when it comes to batteries. The new iPhone 13 launch looks to be just weeks away now, and Apple's plans for it next smartphone are coming into focus. Not officially, of course. Apple never comments on unreleased products, but the assorted leakers and spoilers have no such, and because of them, we have a surprisingly complete iPhone 13 picture. From everything we've heard so far, the iPhone 13 is set to offer a 120Hz LPO display on both Pro models, improved battery life thanks to a more efficient 5G modem, and substantial upgrades to all important cameras that include a new portrait video mode. As of the iPhone 13's design, we have heard that the new model's notch will finally shrink on every model, and yes, we're expecting 4 models just like the iPhone 12. Some rumours have suggested that at least one version of the iPhone may come with a truly polished design, though prediction is looking shaky. We could finally see an always-on display glazing in the iPhone 2. You know, that can be a very good thing, always on displays. I personally don't like them because it's better with a case on, because, you know, I don't know, it's annoying, really. You know, you have it on with your pocket. Now, I kind of want to move on to the iPhone SE3. Now, the iPhone SE has been one of them phones that has kind of been successful with Apple for being a budget phone. A lot of people will buy this phone because maybe they don't want all the features of a brand new iPhone, or maybe they just want something very sleek and they just want it easier to use. They want something easier, sleeker to use, and just all round, they don't want to be paying a lot of money for an iPhone. I know a lot of people are like, oh, why would you do that? Why would you pay? To get an iPhone, you're supposed to pay a lot of money. A lot of people just don't want to spend a lot of money. They don't feel like iPhones are worth a lot of money in their eyes. And that's why the iPhone SE shines. I can't remember exactly when this was launched. I think 2015, 2016, somewhere around there. Pretty much the only reason the iPhone 12 looks like it is now, with sort of an iPhone SE style, and I love it. I love the whole style. of the iPhone 12, sort of paying a little tribute to a very great phone, an incredible phone for that matter. I loved the iPhone SE, and you can get them for basically nothing now. If you still want to pick one up, you can get them for nothing. Yes, they are slow. They aren't going to keep up with many stuff, but the fact that you could slip one of them in your pocket and they are so small is incredible. You know, they're so small. You could it's like you're carrying nothing about with you, and that's what I love about the iPhone SE. I think that's one of sort of the coolest features with it. And they released the iPhone SE 2. Now, it wasn't a big of a disappointment, this. It just really got down to people. Now, they loved the fact that the Touch ID was still a thing, because a lot of people who want to buy a cheaper phone may not want the fact of a Face ID, and plus, Apple want to keep it cheap because, well, it's like they're selling it cheap. And this is maybe where Apple can slip in a lot more money when selling the iPhone SE 2. And this could be a sort of a good thing for Apple in the future when it comes to the iPhone SE 3. But the iPhone SE 2 kind of shocked a lot of people. It wasn't really what I'd say great. I remember trying that, and it just, the battery life for a starter was not it. You know, the battery life kind of put me off with that phone. And it kind of, I don't know, it's just so annoying, the fact that the battery life was so dumbed down. It kind of ruined, I think, the whole point of the phone. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a cheap phone. They're not going to slap in one of the greatest batteries, but it's just annoying when you have a phone like this. You know, you want the battery to be at least to last near enough close to the flagship models, you know. Yes, I could understand that it's not going to be the greatest battery, and you could probably slap a battery case on it, an iPhone 8 battery case on it, and you should be good. Yes, you probably could do that. However, I just think it didn't do very good with the battery, and I think it let down a lot of people within the sense of that, and it kind of annoyed people within the sense of that. But, I mean, I don't think it was a bad thing. I think the iPhone SE is still an incredible phone that Apple have sold, especially the original iPhone SE. It's just the smallness of it. And I think that's where probably Apple got a lot of their inspiration for the iPhone 12 from. So the iPhone 13 is probably set to launch in 2022, which is going to be incredible. Now, this is from the website TechRadar. iPhone SE 3 release date, price, news, and every leak so far. 5G AMOLED, OLED, and more. When it eventually comes out, the iPhone SE 3 probably won't be called that. It's more likely to be called the iPhone. More likely it'll follow the iPhone SE 2020's name. Yes, so it'll probably be just called iPhone SE. They're not going to add iPhone SE 3. However, people will nickname it sort of iPhone SE 3 or iPhone SE 2022. Naming convention with this year of the release of the title. But right now we don't know for sure what the next year of affordable iPhone will release. The iPhone SE 2020 was one of the most exciting iPhones of 2020, providing excellent Apple hardware and software in a compact size and at a relatively low price, so how Apple can top that. Apple, I think, selling a phone like that. I remember they sold the iPhone, was it the iPhone 5C, the plastic phone? I know a lot of people kind of fell out with that, and it kind of broke a lot of people, and a lot of people were like, what? But I thought it was kind of cool. Yes, it's a plastic phone, and it didn't come with Touch ID. That's what annoyed a lot of people. Because Touch ID is a very good thing, especially it stops you having to put passcodes in apps every 5 seconds. That's what I find so annoying when it comes to putting passcode in apps. You have to put in this and that, and I'm like, oh fucking hell, just give me a break with sort of putting this stuff in. So, and some features from the flagships and the mid-range, we may see a notch. We may see what exactly is happening on the newer iPhones come straight to the SE. We may see a better screen. This is going to be good within the sense, but if it raises the price, there's going to be some row there. Cut to the chase. What is it? The next affordable iPhone. Unclear, but maybe until 2022. How much will they cost? Likely around $399, £419, and 749 Australian. iPhone release date and price. We know the iPhone might land at Apple's spring-loaded event in April. After all, that would be a year after the iPhone SE 2020 launch, but it's no show. We're not surprised though, as we've previously seen a couple of leaks and rumours suggesting that there won't be an iPhone SE 3 this year, perhaps to give the iPhone 13 mini more time in the spotlight. So we might be waiting a long time for the phone, if we get it at all. This is true. A lot of people didn't think we would get the iPhone SE 2. It was kind of a shocker out there. So who really knows if we will actually get this. Now, I'm going to say if they want to make it the iPhone 13 shine in a spotlight, they would probably have to price it at the same price or somewhere very close to the price of the iPhone SE 2, purely because a lot of people do not have the money these days to just go out and buy a brand new phone, especially like that. That's why a lot of people buy contract phones, because number one, they don't have the money just to go out and buy a phone, and number two, they have better things to sort of put their money on, if you get what I mean. So, that's why they go for like iPhone SEs and stuff like that. The iPhone SE was absolutely great. So what we want to see is the iPhone SE 2020 is there. Always a good room for improvement in the battery life category. Definitely. So here's what we want from the iPhone SE 3. A modern design. The iPhone SE 2020 has rather old-fashioned design of the the iPhone 8, an older design than the rest of the current iPhone range. So we'd like to see things brought up to date for the iPhone SE 3. Say maybe include sort of the same style as the iPhone 13, but at a smaller range. And maybe to get people used to iPhones that really can't afford a full-built iPhone, but they just want some of these sort of specs. That's where they can tailor to. And that's probably how they can bring more people in. And reel them in with some of the top features. I know this is what sort of Samsung does as well, because Samsung can't really... Well, I think they say they're struggling to sell the S21 Ultra. So a lot of people are buying the mid-range phones when it comes to Android. Same with Google. Google Pixels are quite cheap, to be honest, especially the normal version of the Google Pixel. So a lot of people who do grab the Google Pixel get it at a cheaper price. Plus, I think Google actually releases Google Pixels with Android, the newer version of Android first. So I guess that is kind of lucky. And I think they have more support than, say, Samsung phones and that do. But even though Samsung probably are the most used Android devices out there, and Google knows this, I don't know why they don't give Samsung special treatment when it comes to software. However, the iPhone SE is going to be such a change, and it's probably going to feature Face ID maybe. But then again, if they do include Face ID, the price is probably going to be up there, and that would kill off the fact that it's an affordable iPhone, because it is. I mean, I know people are, but iPhones are affordable. They are, don't get me wrong, iPhones are affordable. But people are not going to put straight away 1,000 on a brand new phone like that unless it's some great game breaking things or specs to it. So, yeah, it's only a matter of time before we see if there's actually going to even be an iPhone SE3. And even if we're going to get 120 hertz on the iPhone 13 or not. It's a rumor at the moment. I hope we do get it. It's overdue now. Them sort of specs. But yeah, it's only a matter of time before we do see that sort of stuff. So anyway, thank you for listening, and goodbye.